Hello, everybody. So, I was listening to a podcast on her video of, it was a man in the manosphere who did a video about women who love men in prison more than they love educated men. I wasn't thinking. I do know some women in my lifetime who went down that road and it didn't work out the way they thought it would work out. So I just thought I would do a video, telling women, why they shouldn't go down that road, why they shouldn't date a man in prison. Because I know a lot of women who actually dated men who was in prison. And when these men got out of prison and they got in a real relationship, it didn't last that long. And so I thought that I would shed some light on them from things that I've witnessed and seen. I've even had relatives who have married men who get out of prison. Like they would like I have a close relative right now. Like in the past, she married a dude that was in while he was in prison, and he got out, and he loved her, but he was hoish. He tried to holler at her sister. He fucked one of her daughters, and put it like this, it didn't work out. They didn't stay married. They not married. Put it like that. He still wanted her, but she didn't want him anymore, and she had every right to. But I thought I would shed some light on that because I do see a lot of women fall prey to dating men in prison. Now I'm not saying all relationships that start in prison, and then they get out, it don't work out, but most prison relationships I've known, they didn't work out. These women were, they thought, they couldn't find what they want out here, or better yet, they just didn't want to take out the time to, date a man out here. So they wanted to date inside the prison because they thinking in their mind that these dudes are faithful, right? But what they don't realize is the only reason why these dudes are faithful, if they really are faithful, because they could be up in there screwing somebody. You never know. They you gotta put yourself in these people, these inmates position. Okay, I've known people who went to jail and they said, like, I know this person went to jail for a whole weekend, 3 days. They couldn't get out to Monday. They said this was their first time being locked up. They said those first 3 days felt like 3 years. So you can imagine how these men in prison feel. So imagine a man like doing a year. Probably 1 year would seem like 5 years to him because it's like when you get locked up, time out here stops. It's just like everything freezes when you get locked up. And life begins in there. But you're not out here. So life is like it freezes. So I would imagine that it does seem like a long time. Like somebody been in there doing 5 years, it probably would actually feel like 10 years. Or a person doing 10 years, it could feel like 20 years. A person doing 20 years could feel like 30 years. I can imagine that. I could really imagine that. So, okay. Just like I said, a time stops out here. So they're not able to do what they really would like to do because they're locked up. And even if they are like being faithful and not screwing another dude in there, they think about it. And you out here, right? You probably, and for as far as they know, you probably doing everything under the sun, right? Living your life, living your best life while they locked up. They probably envy you. They probably they probably hate you at the same time because hell, you out here living your life and they not living theirs. They living theirs, and they wasn't messing around with any women up in there because they was around them but men. So what you think they gonna do? They gonna be messing around with many women most of the time, not just you. They're gonna make up for the time that they spent in there. I've known too many relationships like that. You know, them well, a woman get involved with a man in there locked up. They send love letters and they put and I'm gonna tell you something else about them prison dudes. They have a good mouth game. Man, they'll probably talk you out of your draws. I've even heard cases of they'll have women coming in there bringing them dope, and sometimes them women get caught and end up doing time. Yeah, I heard they have a good mouthpiece, and I heard this right here was coming from somebody who actually worked in there. If I can, I'm gonna see can I try to do an interview with that same dude that I did before who used to work at the prison. I'm sure you have a story for days. And home, I've even heard stories about like women who were like officers, and they would be, and some of them would be bringing in dope. The inmates would talk them women into bringing them dope and sleeping with them, and then them women get caught sleeping with them, lose their job, their life, and their livelihood and everything over an inmate. Now, don't get me wrong. Some inmates who are in there, they don't deserve to be in there because some of them are in there over a petty crime or because of the three strike law or whatever. But some of them are actually in there for serious crimes. Some of them are actually in there for raping the shit out of women, molesting kids, killing women. Some of them are in there for serious crimes like that. So if some of you are already in relationships or trying to seek relationships with an inmate, I would tread lightly and be careful because you could be dating a murderer or a bruiser or a rapist. You could be dating one of those type of guys. You never know, and they probably wouldn't tell you. They probably try to make it seem like they went to jail over I don't know, something simple. I mean, who gonna be crazy enough to tell her put yourself in the inmate shoes? Would you, if you met somebody who was a free or somebody free while you in prison, would you actually tell them, "Oh, I'm in here for raping somebody. Oh, I'm in here for murdering somebody"? Most of you wouldn't. Most of you would say would pretend like you in here, you innocent and you didn't do anything. All I'm saying is, if you are, be careful. But I'm just saying, it's a bad idea to date a man who is locked up. Most of them who get out wind up going back. You don't believe me? Ask that girl who won the lottery, and her baby daddy was in and out of prison, and she had to spend millions and millions of dollars to get him out 3 times, and he still didn't do any better. He still went back and did something else. You know, it's just like once you get into that lifestyle, it's hard to get out. And these men have become institutionalized a lot of times. They don't be knowing how to function in the real world. I'm not talking about the ones that got maybe 5 to 10 years. I'm talking about the ones that been in there 20, 30 years and they get out. They don't know how to function because that type of life has been a part of them. They too used of the state taking care of them. That's all they know. So a lot of them get out and they wind up going back because they're not used to living on their own. So they really don't need to be in no relationship anyway when they first get out. They need to figure out how to survive and live on their own. See, you and me, we already know where freedom is, or so-called freedom, because we're really not free. But I'm just saying we can go where we want to go mostly. We don't have to check in and ask for permission or any of that. But if they've been locked up 10 plus years, they don't know. So they got to get back in the habit of knowing what it feels like to be somewhat free. And be able to go here and go there. Basically, he has to get his life together. So it's like, not only are you doing a disservice to yourself, you're doing a disservice to him too, because when they first get out like that, they need time to get their life together. He needs time to do everything he wanted to do that he wanted to do in prison. He needs time to do that. And he needs that space to do that. So it ain't no good idea for him to be in no relationship anyway. If you a woman, if you a single mom with kids, you especially need to be careful about, you be very careful about who you bring around your child. Because some of these inmates are in there for child molesting. You offer them in your house, they may be looking at one of your children. And next thing you know, he doing something with them behind your back. I actually heard of a story similar to this. This dude was going with this woman while he was in prison. He got out of prison. He moved in with this lady. This lady had a daughter. I think she was like 17 years old. Then once she turned 18, he left the mom and got with the daughter. So in order to have happened, he had already had his eye on her when he first got out and started staying with the mom. And probably was making moves on her and everything in order for all this to happen. And I'm sure you can talk to many women who have dated guys who were in prison and they got out, and they would tell you some of the same stuff has happened to them. Hence why it's a bad idea to go with an inmate. I'm not saying that every relationship with couples that are in prison wind up like that, but most of them do. And like I said before, I know many people who have had relationships like this and it didn't work out. You better off finding you somebody who's on the streets like you. Somebody you can touch and feel and talk to. Even though some of them aren't any better than the ones who are already in there. I'm just saying, you take your chances with the ones on the streets. Well, at least that's what I would rather do. Now, it's different if my man all of a sudden goes to prison. That's totally different. I'm going to stick by my man because we was already together before he went to prison. But me and him break up, I'm not finna go after a dude that's in prison. I don't like long distance relationships. But maybe that's just me. But anyway, let me know how y'all think. Would you date a man who's in prison, or you feel just like I do? Let me know some down there in the comment section. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And I'll talk to y'all next time. Peace. I painted this for someone who wanted me to paint a picture of an ivory tower, but I fell in love with it myself and wanted to keep it. So I decided, you know what? I'm gonna do them another one. I'm gonna paint them another one. So that's what I did. But now I'm looking at this one and I want to keep this one because it actually looks better than the other one. But then now thinking about it, that would be totally wrong because I need to give the customer the best of what they want and not like the least of what they want. And then since this is the best picture, I'm gonna sell them this picture, and I'll just paint me a better one. But anyway, I'll talk to y'all next week if it's the good Lord's will. Peace.